I want to cross over into Calvary. Oh, deep river, Lord. I want to cross over to Calvary.
Thank you, Naomi, for that beautiful song. And welcome everyone in the audience. Thank you. We thank you for joining us. And we also want to thank the Institute of Sacred Music at Yale and Martin Jean and all the staff of the ISM for making this possible, this event possible, with special thanks to Eben Graves and Ray Vogel for their technical help, to Melissa Meyer for her publicity help. Until I began speaking, you've been listening to the voice of Naomi Wilson. You'll be hearing more of her heavenly voice throughout this evening, because her songs and her voice provide a perfect introduction to our investigation of Dante's poetry. Listening to Naomi reminds me of Dante's response to the songs he hears in heaven in the Divine Comedy, cantando si dolce che mai da me non si parte il diletto, singing so sweetly that the song's delight will stay with me forever. Tonight, you're going to see an informal presentation of the semester-long collaboration between my Yale Divinity School students and an extraordinary group of formerly incarcerated individuals. Together, we explored the relevance of Dante's medieval journey out of hell through purgatory into heaven to the 21st century life journeys that formerly and currently incarcerated individuals struggle through as they make their way out of the hells they have survived in the past and stake a claim for the heavens they hope to achieve in the future. Dante wrote the Divine Comedy after being convicted of crimes and condemned to be burned at the stake. There's a dimension of his poem that may be most deeply understood by people who, like him, have lived in exile, but still found a way to keep hope alive. And our guests tonight exemplify that spirit. Our guests have inspired us with their amazing resources of hope and resilience that come through clearly in the stories and songs they've told us in response to Dante's poem. Especially inspiring has been the wisdom of our two featured guest artists, the rap poet and activist B.L. Sherrill and the gospel singer Naomi Wilson, whose music has the power to take us from heaven to hell and back again. The Yale students will recount their stories and the stories of other guests in their own words. Like Dante, who often begins quoting the stories he's heard from the souls in hell, heaven, and paradise with the phrase, ed Elia me, which means and he to me, or ed ella a me, which means and she to me, the Yale students will begin the verbatim stories their partners have asked them to tell with the words, and she to me. And now I turn the evening over to our multi-talented MC, B.L. Sherrill, whose rap lyrics live up to the high standards set by Dante's great-great-grandfather, Cacciaguida, when he tells Dante to, quote, put aside every falsehood and make manifest all your vision. In other words, what Dante is saying is cut through the lies and tell the truth. That's what BL does in every song and story she presents. We're lucky to have her with us. Ladies and gentlemen, B.L. Sherrill.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor, for the great introduction. You're multi-talented too there, speaking that Latin like that. You was just rolling that off. That was pretty impressive. Thank you. So my name is B.L. Sherrill. Like Professor said, good evening, everybody. I will be your MC for the evening. And I am also an MC in profession. So even though hip hop is truly the number one genre in the world, not just, my personal opinion, but in actual data. I still find myself in a lot of spaces where people don't place the proper amount of respect on my genre. So thank you very much to the Yale Divinity School for being open to learning the parallels of hip hop to the historical text in the Divine Comedy. We're going to start this off in the Inferno. So, it's a little awkward to welcome somebody to hell, but welcome to the Inferno. Most people who are incarcerated for a lengthy period of time, they have some dark experiences beforehand, which led them there. An Inferno is a place that thrives on negative emotions and thoughts, which lead to even more negative actions. And there's levels to hell, which is explained in Dante's Inferno, which we'll dive into shortly. But for right now, I would like to introduce Spencer. Spencer Law is a first-year Yale Divinity student at Yale Divinity School, a recent graduate of James Madison University, raised in Birmingham, Alabama, and Richmond, Virginia. He has a background in public history and user experience design. Spencer is a part of the Andover Newton Theological Seminary and works for Furious Flower Poetry Center, an academic center for the study and celebration of Black poetry. He's passionate about reform for racial justice in higher education and the justice system. And I also like to say he's actually kept this class going like the well-oiled machine. That was his role here. And I was very, very, and am still very, very grateful for that. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Law.
Thanks so much, BL, and thank you, Professor Jenkins and Naomi, and everyone who's been a part of this experience. I'm going to share with you now a little bit about BL. BL is our wonderful MC tonight, and she is an accomplished musical artist and producer, as we've heard. She serves as the deputy director of Die Jim Crow Records, which is the first nonprofit record label in the United States for currently and formerly incarcerated artists. After serving 10 years in prison, BL has dedicated her life to activism and education. She shared her story with our class, and as she shared it, her experience with sentencing reminded me of a scene early in Dante's Inferno where Dante and Virgil first encounter King Minos, who judges those condemned to hell. In his judgment, Minos wraps his tail around his body a certain number of times to indicate the level of hell to which each person is condemned. As BL tells her story, you'll hear parallels between her sentencing and this passage from the Inferno. There, dreadful Minos stands, gnashing his teeth, examining the sins of those who enter. He judges and assigns as his tail twines. I mean that when the spirit born to evil appears before him, it confesses all, and he, the connoisseur of sin, can tell the depth in hell appropriate to it. As many times as Minos wraps his tail around himself, that marks the sinner's level. In the courtroom, individual judges have a great deal of discretion in sentencing and can decide a person's fate based on arbitrary factors or biases like racism, sexism, or classism. A study from researchers at Harvard Law indicates that Black adults are likely to receive harsher and longer sentences than white adults, regardless of federal sentencing guidelines. Looking for similarities between this passage that I just read from the Inferno and BL's story, which we'll share now in her own words.
Thank you very much, Spencer. So the first time I was ever sentenced to any time away from my home, I was 13 years old. And my interaction with the law started through truancy. So that's me not going to school, me not arriving to school on time. I didn't possess the impulse control to quit smoking weed at the time. So it led me to outpatient places and inpatient treatment centers as well. And I had to go see my judge. And I had a feeling he would sit me down for 1 or 2 months because I couldn't stop quitting, I couldn't quit smoking weed. So I spent the night at my girlfriend's house in case I didn't come home the same day when I went to court. And I didn't take an extra set of clothes, so I showed up wearing what I already had on. And what I was wearing was a t-shirt that said Buck Fush, which was a play on Fuck Bush, who was the president at the time. I'm trying to tell this story without, dating myself too harshly. But the judge asked me very casually, he was like, "Hey, what does your shirt say?" And I remember being very casual back about it. Like, "Oh, this old thing, Buckfush. And I knew what it meant, but not really what it meant as a 13-year-old. I just remember him saying, Buckfush, huh? To which he then told me to count the braids in my head, which I had quite a few, 18 to be exact. And it was pretty awkward and embarrassing to count them, but I did, unsure of where he was going with it. And when I told him 18, he said, that's how many months you are to serve in Cornell Abrex's facility for youth. When he said that, I couldn't believe the shirt got me a 1.5-year sentence. I was in complete shock. But looking back, right, it's a pretty accurate introduction to the justice system, I think. So I want to present to you guys a song. It's called SIGS. SIGS is an introduction to my personal hell. Being born in a drug-infested environment, becoming a drug dealer. By the age of 12, I was exposed to many different forms of evil. And evil motivated by money, anger, greed, jealousy, and fear, which I shall introduce to you in this song titled SIGS, which stands for Shit I Gotta Say. It has a strong parallel to what Dante's grandfather said to him. Let them scratch where it itches. I gotta tell you the bad before I tell you the good. No matter how difficult it is to hear, you gotta tell them the truth. So without further ado, here is SIGS.
Crack baby, take y'all back to Woodstock, yeah. That's V. I had to rewind the times before the rhymes. I had to rewind the crimes. They locked me for that dime. I had to rewind before the first time I sold the mime. I had to rewind my mind the times I don't want reminded. Rewind to 99. We was 11, 12, stuffing them 12, 12s. We shared a tray 8. We had like 12 shells, juvenile cells, jail, praying for Snell melt, but I won't talk about it. My broken heart and open scar feel like you whipping broke a jaw. You dropping ice hole on your stove, just trying to see if something mold. Trying to see them oils hold. You lost your dreams and all your goals, and the Pyrex you stole from Lowe's. Y'all know the feeling. My self-esteem was kinda low. I had a demon in my soul that sank his teeth and made a hole without a feeling. But I won't talk about it. My heart got chalk around it. Yeah, that's when I thought about it. Yeah. Just some shit I gotta say, yeah. Shit I carry every day, yeah. This some shit that's on my heart, yeah. Where the fuck am I gonna start? These weirdo niggas is bitches, I give them morning sickness. The more they sittin', the more I'm shifting, they more the difference. Some niggas getting your business, some niggas getting they feelings. I just get to the witness to stitch a co-defendant. See niggas fake they religion, hitting Christians, and when they eating that Chi-Chi, they envisioning chitlins. Ain't gonna get more specific. Go west and I hit the Pacific. I hope you fucking illiterate niggas know the difference. Yeah, I'm a victim of recidivism. I only be civilized in the prison system. Yeah, religious stigma keep us in this vision. Skin stigma's a bigger division. It can't be minted, it's cemented and demented. My windows tinted and my skin is, which one is it? When you violate my rights and my amendments. Same rights was never given to begin with. I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. Clinicians can't provide prescription for this sickness. I'm addicted to the digits, they addicted to syringes. Common sense is that we must conduct a business. Yeah. Just some shit I gotta say, yeah. Shit I carry every day, yeah. My man mom died while he was at child time. Baby mom miscarried while he was at commissary. It's kinda scary cause this Sally's a drag who dresses in women fashion. Medea, they call her Tyler Perry. I could barely get fresh, wore that designer rarely. Till I did that math, like hold up, that one I gotta carry. Till I grip that gat, like hold up, that gun I gotta carry. These niggas wanna spill my blood in my prime carry. Spoiled milk, reminiscing on that rotten dairy. In this game, it's one and done, we play for Kyler Perry. Draft picks from the body of the belly bottom beast. But when it's extra hollow in your belly, gotta eat. And when they plotting, stop problem, you can't let them battle feed. Even if I gotta fight in the Rockies, Apollo Creed. Spent countless nights in the county without a blink. But I ain't gotta sleep, motherfucker, I gotta drink. Yeah. Just some shit I gotta say, yeah. Shit I carry every day, yeah. This some shit that's on my heart, yeah. Where the fuck am I gonna stop, huh?
That is Sigs, ladies and gentlemen. You can find that on my debut LP, A Side of Troy, so on all streaming platforms if you're interested. Next up, I want to introduce Margaret Kearney. Margaret Kearney grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. She studied English at Yale College and then taught middle and high school English in Brooklyn, New York for 12 years before returning to Yale to study religion and literature at the Divinity School. Without further ado, Margaret Kearney.
Thank you, BL. Such a powerful song. So it has been a real honor and privilege this semester to get to know Miss Naomi Wilson, who sang for us at the start of the program. Miss Naomi was sentenced to life without parole and ended up serving 37 years in prison. Since her release, she has worked for the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania as a commutation specialist. She also works as a program consultant for Shining Light, which provides transformational programming for people in prisons all over the country. According to the Sentencing Project, while people of color are overrepresented in prisons and jails, this disparity is even more evident among those sentenced to life imprisonment, with Black Americans representing 55% of those sentenced to life without parole. And the number of women serving life sentences has risen at a faster rate than for men in recent years. As Ms. Naomi told us, people change. They age out of criminal behavior, making these life sentences inhumane and unjustifiable on any grounds. Ms. Naomi told us about how her faith in God sustained her through her long imprisonment, which reminded us of the relationship between Dante and Virgil, who serves as his guide in the Inferno. At one point, when Dante is terrified that Virgil will leave him, Virgil says, "Feed and comfort your tired spirit with good hope, for I will not abandon you in this low world." And she to me. I saw 37 years in prison. I thought it was over, life without the possibility of parole. But I served somebody bigger than the judges and the municipal courts and all those other places. I served God. I was supposed to die in prison, never knew if I'd even see my family again. I remember I'd go over to the chapel and sit there all day long, just singing songs and lifting my own spirits. I wrote songs because I was hurt, and I could only write about me and my life, and all the while still begging and asking God to please just give me that second chance, you know? I had a 10-year-old boy when I went to prison. When I came home, he was 47 years old. But I'll tell you something, God is so good. And this is nothing spiritual, you know. I'm just telling you that God played such a big part in my life, because even though I thought that I would die there, the reason I did so many programs on the inside was because when my son came to pick me up, I wanted him to see that his mother was more than a junkie or an alcoholic. So when I was in prison, I got my GED, I went to college, I got an associate's degree, I got a certificate in paralegal. I just blossomed and blossomed, you know? God is so good, and I love him, and this is my testimony. And now we'll hear Miss Naomi sing "Be Not Dismayed," a song she used to sing for other women in prison to keep their spirits up.
Thank you so much, Margaret. And I did sing this song while I was on the inside, because I knew in my heart of hearts that God was going to take care of me. Be not dismay. Oh, be tied. God, we take care. Oh, you. He will take care God will take care of you. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much, Miss Naomi. I just want to let the audience know. Um, I was actually incarcerated with Miss Naomi when I served my 10 years. So for us to be doing this together when she was a lifer is it's beyond, I can't even say it's dream come true because it's beyond my wildest dreams that we would be doing this. But I want to say that the person that is permeating through your screen right now is really the person that she is. I mean, she had a life sentence and she was a mentor to me and to a bunch of other young women who were there. She was always carry herself with high honor and such a light, pleasant spirit to be around, which is hard to do when you're serving a life sentence. Because you can be miserable with an excuse and it will be acceptable to everybody because you have a reason to be. So for her to, always have this character and always be so pleasant, it's truly, truly, truly amazing. And I love you, Ms. Naomi, you know that, but I just wanted to share that. I'm going to bring Spencer back to the stage. Spencer, where you at?
Hey, thanks so much, BL, and thanks, Naomi, for sharing that with us. I'm going to introduce you now to Marisol Garcia. Marisol spent more than 15 years of her life either in prison, on probation, on parole, or under community supervision. While in prison, she began to take courses on human rights and started planning for her own future. Now, Marisol is a student at Trinity College working to complete her degree in public policy and law. She's on track to graduate in 2022 and plans to apply to law schools to study social justice and policy reform. In the passage that Marisol shared with us, the Pope deceives a man named Guido into believing that he will be absolved of his sins in advance. Though Guido believes that the Pope has forgiven his sins in advance, he's soon reminded that the Pope's logic can be flawed and that he can be deceived by authority. Dante writes, "None is absolved unless he first repent, nor can repentance house with purpose ill, for this the contradiction do prevent." Guido is then condemned to hell for his sins, where he recalls how someone he saw as a figure of authority, the Pope, lied to him, leading to harsh judgment. Marisol shared with us how this relates to the way that police and correctional officers talk people into believing that if they cooperate, they will face less severe consequences, which is rarely true. According to the Innocence Project, it is almost always legal for police to lie during interrogations, which can quickly lead to false confessions and even wrongful imprisonment. Marisol plans to use her experience in the justice system and her education to advocate for reforming policies like police deception. Now, Marisol will share how she relates to this passage and a passage from Canto 27 of the Inferno, and a poem that she wrote based on this passage in her own life. Welcome, Marisol.
Thank you so much, Spencer. As Spencer said, the Pope deceived Guido as we have been deceived by the police and correctional staff. To Minos down he bore me, and the Judge twined 8 times round his callous back the tail, which biting with excess rage he spake, "This is a guilty soul that in the fire must vanish." When he had thus fulfilled his words, the flame and dolor parted, beating to and fro, and writhing in sharp Horn. My piece is called Slither and Sly. Judges, lawyers, and correctional blue seek to slither and slide a confession no matter the cost. Honeyed promise and perpetual lie dance from within the hallowed halls of justice. Tell me the truth. What's the real story? Have there been others? Tell the truth and we will let you go. Honeyed promise and a perpetual lie dance from within the hallowed halls of justice. Tell me the truth. What's the real story? Have there been others? Advised to work with the correctional blue. Slither and sly. Tell me the truth. Have there been others? What's the real story? Twisting and turning within the wheels of justice. Entangled. Slither and sly. Tell me the truth. Have there been others? What's the real story? Slither and sly. Honeyed promise and perpetual lie. What's the real story? Whispers the devil at hell's door. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marisol. Thank you for sharing. You know, I love that piece. And I want to share a piece of my own that's kind of goes with what Marisol and Spencer was both talking about. So the Pope deceiving Guido, like Spencer said, is no different than detectives, DAs, cops, misleading, suspects, if you will. Sometimes people plead guilty just out of fear or just out of a promise that was given. So I have a song called Conspiracy, and it's funny because none of these songs were written when I knew of the Divine Comedy or even knew of its existence. But a lot of my songs actually have a very, very strong parallel to the text that we're going over today. And I have this song called Conspiracy, and while it's not an autobiographical song, every scenario in it was inspired by real life events that I know of, right? That may have happened to a friend or a roommate or something like that. And it tells a pretty heartbreaking story. So hopefully you guys can enjoy it. It is called Conspiracy, and it is also on my LP, Assata Troy.
With the gang at the bar, stumble all the way to the car. Slouch the back of the leg, eyes seeing stars as they roll back. All of a sudden hit, skirt soul band a snack. Caddy moving real fast, being on the dash, low on that ass. Bang God, what is a crash? That's when shit go black. When you come to a crack, got your damn arms tied behind your back. You don't even know what happened, but you know you ain't a rat. So they take you to book and bail a few racks, but you ain't got that. Victim getting life flighted, charges murder indictment. OG saying bite it, jailhouse lawyers telling you to fight it. Wifey got you on silent. Shit, so do your side bitch. Sully said it's election year. I don't know what that mean. It mean if you lose, you get in the electric chair. Bleed off for his hella years. You gotta hold in a well of tears. Can't cry all these mel's in here. You ain't getting no melanin. Think about telling you hella scared. But if you tell them talking shit, your coffin pick to put a nail in there. This is the system. Jail on the prison. Realize nobody miss you. This is the system. You realize them bitches ain't coming to visit my nigga. This is the system. And when you come home, your kids won't remember you, nigga. This is the system. Practice fitness, religion, give wisdom, blessing. Parole, man, I wanna go home. Damn, I ain't got no home plan, no. I got nowhere to go. It be your own family view in a cold. Damn, it's the only home that I know. It's the only home that I know. No trial, get an elbow. Working out, got the jug glow. Keep putting in the pill, should've took the deal. Court saying hell no. Nightmares in your sheet tied around a tear neck to just let go. But you know that the hell you go if you do already in the hellhole. Wife got a new nigga. Got him raising your kids and buying them clothes, father and roll, nigga giving ass whippings. Your mom died, she was sickin'. You ain't get the old bitch shit. You ain't found out till one of your siblings came through with a conviction. It's been 15 you been in, 1,000 roommates you live with. A new dude with a box walk in, you realize it's your kid shit. He don't even remember you, even though you're identical. Guess the cycle continues. Yes, the cycle continues. This is the system. Jail on the prison, realize nobody miss you. This is the system. You realize the bitches ain't coming to visit my nigga. This is the system. And when you come home, your kids won't remember you, nigga. Practice fitness, religion, your wisdom, blessing. Parole, man, I wanna go home. Damn, I ain't got no home plan, no. I got nowhere to go. It be your own family view in a cold. Damn, it's the only home that I know. It's the only home that I know.
Parole, man, I wanna go home. Damn, I ain't got no home plan, no.
I got nowhere to go.
It be your own family view in a cold. Damn, it's the only home that I know.
I got nowhere to go. I got nowhere to go. This the only.
Conspiracy, that is on Asada Troy. It's actually one of my favorite records on the album. And behind me, guys, that I was playing is all my artists from SCDC, South Carolina. They are signed to Dodge Jim Crow Records, and they have a project dropping shortly. So hey guys, and I love you. Now I'm going to introduce Carrie. But before we do, we're actually transitioning into purgatory. So good thing we made it out of hell. We're transitioning through. So one thing about purgatory in the Divine Comedy is it's a mountain. So right now we're like facing the mountain. And one thing about a mountain is it's the definition of an uphill climb. So a lot of things can take place. You can be intimidated by its presence. You can be too scared to climb. You can be afraid of heights, afraid of success. You could be comfortable at the bottom of the mountain, content in your despair. So as we attempt to climb the mountain of purgatory, understand that it's only based on faith, hope, and even, sometimes desperation. So let's bring Carrie so she can get us there. Carrie is a student at Yale Divinity School, a writer and a songwriter. She has some really, really dope freaking songs that she sent me. I suggest that you guys check her out on Bandcamp. She grew up in Michigan and lives in Brooklyn. So Carrie, to the stage.
Thanks so much, BL. That song was amazing, as all your songs are. And thanks everybody for being here. So you have all heard a bit of Naomi's story and about the 37 years she spent in the system. But long before that, she was a singer. And she recorded on the Swan label when she was just 15 years old as Naomi Wilson. And she sang in services when she was in prison where everyone would come to see her sing. And before this year is out, she has an album that will be released on Dodge Jim Crow Records as Simply Naomi. So that's what you want to go looking for. Naomi did not serve time because of something she did, but because she was there when someone else committed a crime and she was charged with conspiracy, like in BL's song. She's not alone in that. Many women are serving time for conspiracy, especially in drug-related crimes. More than 61% of the women in federal prisons today are there because of nonviolent drug offenses. Pennsylvania, where Naomi was sentenced to life without parole, actually gives more life sentences than any other place in the world. There are 5,100 people serving life without parole in Pennsylvania, and over 1,000 of them never intended to kill anyone. They got that sentence because of a concept called felony murder, which means that if someone dies in the course of a felony, even if you are simply there and harm no one, you can still be charged with murder, which in Pennsylvania carries a sentence of life without parole. Around the country, 2,000 women are serving life without parole. 200 of them are in Pennsylvania. When Naomi talked with us about serving the long years of her sentence, one of the things she said was that she prayed to God to open her eyes, just like the people on Mount Purgatory, where Dante writes, "Heaven's light denies its bounty to the shades in the place of which I speak. For iron wire pierces all their eyelids, stitching them together. Because they were envious in life, in purgatory their eyes are sewn shut, and they pray for help to lead them out into paradise. And she to me, I was blind, because definitely a person that's out there drinking alcohol every day and shooting dope every day, you're really blind. You don't see nothing but a bottle of liquor and a bag. And even when I had gone to prison and I did get clean, I had those thoughts, and so I needed God to just open my mind, open my heart, open my eyes, let me see what is not good for me, and let me put that behind me. So that would be just my prayer. And that was my little special song that I would just play myself and just cry when nobody was around because, I didn't want anybody to see me crying. That's a weakness in prison. So I'd wipe it away and just keep, just singing the song. But I just can't even express to you all how music really it soothes my soul. It lifted my spirits. It was just everything to me, and that was my way of just talking to God through song. The song that Naomi sang was like the prayer that people pray in purgatory for God to open their eyes. And she's going to share it with us now.
Thank you, Carrie. I love you. And that was a prayer that I prayed while I was on the inside, because I knew that something in my life had to change. And I too, just like Dante, wanted God to just open my eyes. Father, open my eyes. That we may see to follow, Lord, thee, Lord, grant us thy loving peace. Let all decency let our faith each day increase, Lord, and Master, Lord, oh, open our eyes, yeah. Open our eyes.
Wow. That lower register that you sing that song in is amazing, Miss Naomi. I loved it. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Everyone, please look out for Miss Naomi's lead single. It'll be out at the end of the year. It's called Melody. It's amazing. We just shot the video for it last week. And it's in the editing process and everything now. Super proud of you. Congratulations. You totally deserve it. And Spencer, where you at?
Hey, thanks so much. That was absolutely beautiful. I'm going to introduce you all now to Lori LeDunn. For more than 2 decades, Lori LeDunn has worked in event production, media, and marketing with an impressive resume of clients. Her life was interrupted in 2017 when a series of events led her to be arrested. Like other individuals unable to post bail, Lori remained in prison without a conviction before her hearing. According to a 2020 report from the Prison Policy Initiative, 74% of people held in jails have not been convicted of any crime. They're held awaiting conviction because they're unable to post bail. While prison and jail vary in many ways, both allow for people to be held in detention without being convicted of a crime. After her trial, Lori served 3 years in prison, spending a great deal of time alone in reflection. In sharing her story, Lori reminded me of a scene in Dante's Purgatorio where he and Virgil are ascending to the summit of the mountain of Purgatory. Lori talked about using drugs as a way of escaping reality and avoiding internal problems, and said that in prison she realized she had to walk through the fire to achieve the life she wanted. Dante also had to literally walk through the fire in Purgatorio, cleansing himself so he could reach heaven. While the fire burned intensely, it never hurt Dante, just as Virgil promised. The text reads, "Holy souls, you cannot move ahead unless the fire has stung you first. Enter the flames and don't be deaf to the song you'll hear beyond." Just like Dante, Lori understood that she could not move forward in life without first moving through the fire of self-improvement to hear a new song on the other side. This is Lori's story in her own words, and she to me. I was inside for 3 years. I was sober for a very long time. I had 22 years sober, and I relapsed with a friend of mine who died in my house. We relapsed together, and I was charged with manslaughter too. So those 22 years and the wonderful life that I had built were gone in a millisecond for me. And life changed really, really, really fast. I didn't even realize I was in trouble. I was told it was a simple drug charge and to come down and speak to the police officers. And I was coming home from work one day. I was actually working in Manhattan on a fundraising party for Governor Cuomo, and I was arrested on a manslaughter charge. And it wasn't a $5,000 bail to get me out. It was $105,000, which I didn't have at that time. So it was a big shock to my family and everybody around me who thought I was clean at the time. I was taken to jail. A lot of trauma was brought back up for me when I had the time to get quiet, because that's what happens when you're in a room for 18 or 20 hours. Sometimes you're not allowed out for a week or two at a time, and you're bathing in a plastic bag and doing all these things that you didn't even think were human. But the alternative was much worse, so you managed to get by the way you can. And I decided I was going to be the bull. I'm going to walk through the fire. I'm tired of going around it. I went around the fire my whole life. Every time I took a pill, every time I shot a bag of dope in my arm, I was going around the fire. I wasn't going through it. And I knew that I had to make some serious changes, or else I was going to be staying here for a long time. And I was just going to keep coming back. This was it for me. It's frightening what's been taken from me forever. They say we get second chances, and I want to know, where's that second chance? Because I'm not getting it at all. I've never in my life had so much rejection and been kicked so far to the curb so many times, and I'm still going up against it. I'm hitting wall after wall after wall, and it's getting me more and more motivated to help make a change, because this is ridiculous. I've been hired and fired on the same day more than once in the past month. Fired because of my past. You know, just because of what happened the past time. Not the 30 years before that, when I did some great stuff. That doesn't count anymore. And things have to change. They're systemically wrong. And this is the only way that it's going to happen, is if people like you get involved. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you. Thanks, Vince. The only way that I knew how to approach the action of moving through the fire was by expressing my feelings through music. And much like Dante, who said, in front came people, all parted in 7 bands, who made one sense of mind say no, the other yes. They're singing. Dante heard the singing. He needed song to guide him out of purgatory. I needed the music to help me walk through the same fire. I needed to be heard, validated. I needed to begin to heal, and most importantly, I needed to connect. I remember the girls chanting, "Big L," as they used to call me, when I was escorted to segregation by 4 COs for using the bathroom during formal count. I loved how empowered it made me feel to hear those girls. The solidarity gave me the strength to move through the fire. And I sat alone in that cell in segregation, and I began to formulate the song over and over and over in my head. I had no pencil to write, no glasses to read. I just had to say it over and over and over. And it goes like this. I did it, got a ticket, now I'm going to sed. Here come the COs with their handcuffs, 7 days I will dread. Took my clothes off for the strip search, cause they'll dress me in red. Nothing to do, stare out the window, but hang on the bed. Cause I did it, got a ticket, said I did it, got a ticket. I did it, got a ticket, said I did it, got a ticket. I did it, got a ticket, now I'm going to seg. Some 2-inch foam on metal bed, now I can feel my leg. A finger brush to brush my teeth, but do some my head. Continued torture cause they want me to wish I was dead. Cause I did it, got a ticket, yeah, I did it, got a ticket, yeah, did it, got a ticket, yeah, I did it, I got a ticket. The next morning, Monday, it was shower day. I heard from the bathroom and I heard the girls singing. I did it, got a ticket, now I'm going to Seg. The connection was made and my healing began. Thank you. BL?
Thank you very much, Lori. You know how I feel about I Got a Ticket. It's a great song. Not only is it a great song, and I can hear the track that I would produce to it in the back. You know what I mean? But it also, I swear, it makes me feel like the story is so great that I feel like I was literally there when they dragged you out and we was banging on the door, singing it back to you. Great story. And I love that story and song so much because, you know, being serious, it truly exhibits the power of art, right? That even in the dark corners of solitary, we can always find, you know, solace through song. And that's really, you know, the real overall reason why I love that record.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the mountaintop of purgatory. And it's been a long, grueling climb, but we made it. Now in real life, I haven't gotten here yet. And, you know, I'm indeed still climbing and I hope to be still climbing for a little while here. And you guys have heard my music by now. So you know that my music is not the ideal soundtrack to paradise, right? That would be Miss Naomi and her angelic voice. But up next is Margaret. Margaret, can you come back to the stage?
Thank you, BL. I am now going to introduce another incredibly strong and talented woman, Tracy Bernardi, who has made it to the top of that mountain in purgatory, and she is going to launch us toward heaven. Tracy is the executive director of Once Incarcerated, Once Inc., a 501c3 she co-founded. She's an ACLU Smart Justice leader and a certified recovery support specialist. She is also a writer, an artist, and an all-around advocate. Tracy is a formerly incarcerated woman who was sentenced to 30 years in prison, of which she served 23. Tracy was a teenager when she entered prison at age 19, and she left as a 42-year-old woman. Tracy told us about her horrific experiences in solitary confinement, which exacerbated her pre-existing mental health conditions, leading her to act out self-harm and attempt suicide. When she cut her wrists as a coping mechanism, she was punished rather than treated. Her stay in solitary confinement was ultimately extended to 7 years because of disciplinary actions. This is a pattern in prisons across the country where those suffering from mental illness are more likely to be placed in segregated housing, and solitary confinement triggers mental health breakdowns, even in those without underlying conditions. At any given time, around 80 to 100,000 people are in solitary confinement, and roughly 1/3 of these people experience psychosis and/or suicidal thoughts. Tracy sees it as her purpose to raise awareness about mass incarceration. Her calling is like Dante's. Having suffered through hell, she has emerged to tell her story so that others might learn from it. Her story calls to mind what Beatrice, Dante's beloved, tells him in Paradise. Open your mind to what I shall disclose and hold it fast within you. He who hears but does not hold what he has heard learns nothing. May we all hold what we hear tonight fast within us. I'll begin Tracy's story and she'll finish it. And she to me. I served 7 years straight in solitary confinement. Can you imagine? 7 years, that's 7 Christmases, 7 birthdays. You're in a blank, empty room. We had to wear handcuffs in the shower. We couldn't get ourselves clean. And the strip searches, over and over, people looking at your body, strangers that you didn't permit. You didn't say, this is okay, I give you permission to look at me. So you're going through this external hell, which is the prison and the strip searches and being degraded and talked down to, but you're also going through an internal part where you're trying to come to terms with what happened, how it happened, what led up to it. I used to cut my wrists. I used to try to hurt myself. There were days where, as a grown woman, I would sit underneath the cell counter and I would just scream and scream. I was so lonely, you know? One of the things we used to do is we would lay under the door. We would be on the floor eating dust, and we would request songs. We used to sing under the door, talk underneath the door. That was our whole lifeline. I found a lot of my healing in writing poetry, because when I would write a poem and I would read it to people under the door, they would see me as smart, you know, like, wow, that's beautiful. Or, oh, could you write one for me? And they would tell me their feelings and I'd turn it into a poem for them. It was a moment of, I'm not this piece of shit that these guards and everybody's been telling me I am since I got arrested. Those things increased my self-esteem to the point where I was realizing that I was too good to be cutting myself. Tracy?
I feel like the time I spent in prison, even though it was meant for punishment, God meant it for more than that, for me to be a witness so that I can come home and use my experiences and my testimony to help change minds and hearts. When I was incarcerated, I always said, when I get out, I'm telling. I ended up moving to East Mountain in Waterbury, and I live on East Mountain, a mountain. So I'm like, God wanted me to tell it from the mountain, right?
Thank you, Tracy. And I am so glad that you told it. People need to know what goes on the inside. Said I wasn't gonna tell nobody, but I couldn't keep it to myself. Said I wasn't gonna tell nobody, but I couldn't keep it to myself. Said I wasn't gonna tell nobody, but I couldn't keep it to myself. But God has done for me, yeah. I said I wasn't gonna shout for joy, but I couldn't keep it to myself. Said I wasn't gonna shout for joy, but I keep it to myself. Said I wasn't gonna shout for joy, but I couldn't keep it to myself. But God has done for me, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Naomi. Thank you, Tracy. Beautiful. And I just want to stop real quick and just, I guess, further expound on what you all are witnessing right now. Just Miss Naomi and Tracy, just them two, have a collective over 60 years incarcerated in prison. That's not counting me, that's not counting Tracy or Marisol. And so there's a couple things, right, that are huge threats to you in prison. Of course, there's the fear of, you know, people dying and your family members and things like that. You can only imagine how many times that happened. But also, you know, there's like a deliberate indifference to your health care in prison. So like one of the scariest things for women in prison is getting sick because there's like no help. But there's another very, very real threat, and that's, you know, leaving out not in mental shape, not having the mental capacity to, you know, move forward. I've had plenty of roommates who we were super cool, and 2 years down the line, you know, they've been doped up on so much medication and stuff. They have no idea who I am. They look completely different. They barely can even speak. They're playing in their feces and all kinds of shit. So for these two women to do that amount of time and to come out in sound body and mind is truly, truly amazing. You have to have such a mental capacity and such a mental acumen to be able to do that. And then not only do that, because then when you get out, some people don't want to remember that shit. Some people want to just move on with their life and never, you know, look back because it's too painful and it's too much trauma that they've experienced. So for both of you to come out and do this work that you guys do, Ms. Naomi working with the Lieutenant Governor of Free Lifers, Tracy, Once Incarcerated organization, it's truly, truly, truly amazing. And there's not many people in this world that can do that. And I just want to highlight that. And I love you both. And it's truly beautiful and it's truly amazing. I also want to highlight another good friend of mine named Crystal. She took part in this class. She was not able to make it tonight. But Crystal is a dear friend of mine who was sentenced to 15 years in prison at age 15. She was always and still is a breath of fresh air. I love you, Crystal, if you see this. Thanks for coming to the class this semester. But Carrie's going to talk about me and Crystal's relationship and a story that our friendship was founded upon. So Carrie.
Okay, thanks so much, BL. So I want to talk, before I go into her story, a little bit more about BL's story, and in particular about her life as a musician. You've heard a little bit about her record label, Die Jim Crow. You may not realize that it was launched last year in 2020. And despite all the challenges of that year, their first recordings have been featured already by the Grammys and the LA Times, as well as on Westworld. But that is not all she was up to in 2020. Her debut solo record, Assata Troy, was released last year as well, and has been featured in outlets including Rolling Stone and PBS, as well as in the documentary The Betrayal of Attica, produced by Michael Hall. One of the things that BL talked with us about was how much grandparents meant to her and her friend Crystal, who served time with her. Grandparents play a very important role for many people caught in incarceration, and also show how incarceration affects not just individuals, but entire families. 1 in 28 American children has an incarcerated parent, and about half of the children of incarcerated mothers are cared for by their grandparents. And she, to me, we were both really close to our grandparents, like would just lay down and die at the thought of something happening to our grandparents. Me and baby worked together. So every day we would just clown and we would just talk, and we talked about everything. It was all very lighthearted and playing, and some real shit happened one day. Some real shit happened. And her pain was so visceral to me, like it was literally like my pain. When you have a friend that you're in prison with and you hear the scream, even if they're down the hall, it hits you like a fucking ton of bricks. When it happened, I'm like, I'm going upstairs. I'm going into unauthorized area. They can write me up. They can do whatever. I went in there and we was there for each other. I was there for her in that moment. And then when we was home, something happened real in my life. My grandma passed away, and she was literally the first person there, because it was like something that everybody couldn't really relate to the amount of devastation. There's only a couple people that will understand. That was a moment where I realized, this is my friend for life. You don't get that with people outside. You're not hungry together. You're not busting down one pack of noodles together. You pray together. You spend holidays together. You go through deaths together. You go through birthdays together, and you only have each other. It's just the sort of shit that you don't go through out here, that you go through together. It's deeper than family, really. As we move out of purgatory into heaven, BL is going to share a song now where she wonders about what heaven might be like. In one part, you will hear her asking whether she can get into heaven if she asks with the wrong words. That's something Dante asks too in Canto 19 of Paradise. He meets a fiery eagle there who represents justice in heaven. And he asks it whether a good man would be kept out of heaven simply because he didn't know the right words to say. Wherein lies the justice that condemns him, Dante asks. Wherein lies his fault if he does not believe? BL asks exactly that same question in different words when she says, so if I praise my God until I go numb and then find out it was the wrong one, am I condemned because I was speaking in the wrong tongue? I'm just translating the lyrics to the song, son. I'll let you guys decide who said it better, Dante or BL. I personally lean towards BL, and here she is with her song from her debut album, Till I Go.
Thank you very much, Carrie. Thank you, guys. It's Till I Go is my version of a gospel song, I guess.
I like to step to the altar. Lately I'm in a transition. I really want to get out. I've been feeling spiritually uncomfortable. Not sure where I belong. Maybe too much information. Maybe not enough. Just want to share my journey. Maybe some people can relate. Ever get sad from being happy? Like, I did this shit for Gramps. She in the afterlife. And the sacrifices she made, it took half her life. I say she looking down, she hardly had her sight. I feel my faith has lost its appetite. Cause I done served the deacon and the pastor's wife. I used to know them verses front to back and back to right, till I read that Bible printed in this black and white, and it's cracker type. My spirit don't have a sanctuary. It roams cause what is home, but God knows it's gold. It shows straight through my soul and he chose me. Now get a load of me. Fat dyke with a beard so you notice me. Got a limp from some hoes caught below the knee. Triple D's, who the fuck you know as bold as me? And I'm supposed to be exactly how she molded me. Yeah. Only way will I know. Won't know till I go. And if I go before you go, I promise y'all to let you know. Like I'm spiritually homeless. Swear my spirit be wrong. Where my spirit be gone? Where my spirit be gone? Forgive me, I'm high, some memories die, some shit stuck with me like a minute ain't even went by, and ain't no changing the cycle. They slated disciples in pages of the Bible. I used to pray to a Christ who wasn't doing nothing, cause the only time I prayed was when I wanted something. Got caught dumping, now I got caught coming. But Lord, please forgive me for all my shortcomings. Give me credit for being forthcoming. Not saying it's no paradise, but no one knows what that shit is like. Praising Christ or Allah, Jehovah, whoever I like, don't make me right. So if I praise my God until I go numb and die, then I find out it was the wrong one. Am I condemned cause I was speaking in the wrong tongue? I'm just translating the lyrics of the song sung. Only way will I know. Won't know till I go. And if I go before you go, I promise y'all to let you know. Like I'm spiritually home. Swear my spirit be wrong. Where my spirit be gone? Where my spirit be gone? Now let me down to sleep.
is Till I Go. By far, probably my most intimate record, which is something to say because most of my songs are very, very personal. That you can find that on the side of Troy. Thank you guys for listening to it. But now I think my time is up. Here's where I drop you all off. Don't worry, you are in good hands with a great, great mentor of mine, the GOAT, Miss Naomi. So thank you guys for taking the time to listen to my experiences and listen to my music. I genuinely appreciate it, and I'm always humbled. And yeah, thank you guys. Sign up for my email list, www.jimcrow, if you guys are interested in what we're doing over here. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. And BL, as far as where you might go or who you're praying to, if it's the right one, from my point of view, you're definitely heaven bound. I say that sincerely. When I was in prison, I had written my obituary just numerous times, because I knew that that would be my death place. And I had written a letter, and I put it in the Bible. And I let that letter just sit there. And then just one day, something in my spirit said, Naomi, mail that letter. Yes. Did someone want to say something to me?
I think it was God.
Oh, it was God. Yes, that was the voice of God. You know, I used to wonder what the voice of God sounds like. And it's my voice because he's in my heart. And so I just knew what Dante was going through, just being in purgatory, just wanting to make it through, just to get to that point, that place, that peaceful place, just wanting his freedom. Because I too wanted my freedom after 37 years in a warehouse. Never thought that I'd make it, but I did. And so freedom feels so wonderful. And that's why I could never forget where I came from. And I want to sing this song to you called Freedom. Oh, freedom, freedom over me. Yeah, oh, freedom, freedom over me. Before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. Then I'm going home to live with God. Hey, hey, oh, freedom, freedom over me. Yeah, oh, freedom, freedom over me. Before I'll be a slave, I'd rather be buried somewhere in my grave then I'm going home to live with God. Hey, oh, freedom, freedom over me. Hey, oh, freedom, freedom over me. Before I be somebody's slave, I'd rather be buried somewhere, anywhere in my grave. Then I'm going home to live with God. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Naomi. And when Virgil was asked why Dante was on his journey from hell to purgatory to paradise, he said, Virgil said that Dante was libertava cercando. He's searching for liberty. He's searching for freedom. And when we hear you sing that song, we understand what Dante was looking for. So thank you so much for that. And now we're in a few minutes, we're going to open things up to the audience for questions and comments. But first, I'd like to give our guests, Naomi and BL and Tracy and Marisol and Lori, a chance to talk about what the experience was like listening to the students tell their stories during the course of the semester that we spent together. Tracy, would you start and tell us a little bit about what was that like for you?
Sure. So to me, listening to Margaret speak my words, it helps me to momentarily separate myself from my experience. I'm able to look at my experiences from an outsider's perspective, you know, and growing up, I was taught never to feel sorry for myself. So when I first heard Margaret speak those words, it was like I felt pity for her. And then I remembered she was me. So it's like I had permission to do something that I didn't have permission to do before. And that was feel sorry for the injustices that Tracy, the 19-year-old child, endured in the justice system. You know, I too was felony murder. So yeah, so hearing those words, it gave me permission to feel something different. When I tell my story, I feel empowerment in a way that I know my story is helping others, but I don't necessarily feel it in a way that I was taught, don't feel sorry for yourself, you know? So hearing her, and I felt pity, and I felt a different perspective, and I appreciated that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I remember that first night that we heard your story from the voice of a student. It was really an emotional moment. So thank you for expressing it that way. Lori.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tracy. I could relate to a lot of what she said, also of what Tracy said. I from telling my story over and over and over, it becomes almost robotic, because if you remain too attached to it for too long, it just it really tears away and eats at you. And I think your body kind of, in your mind and your subconscious, has a way to kind of self-protect yourself. And I felt like it was becoming robotic. And then when I heard Spence say it in Spence talk, I was like, wow, he's talking about me. And I suddenly felt sad, and I felt all these feelings that I hadn't felt in a while. In the beginning, it was so hard for me to talk about it. And like I said, I had really worked so hard while I was in to search out programs where I did every trauma course I did, everything I could possibly do, where I was bringing out everything into the light, figuring it would burn up, if you will, it would evaporate, because I was so afraid if I kept it inside, it would just come out all sideways when it finally did come out. One of my goals was to, like I said, walk through the fire and kind of leave everything there to burn and dissipate. But when I did hear Spence talk, it really kind of brought it back to life for me. And it helps me to realize how much I need to keep it into my forefront, so I can share the story and help other people along the way. And maybe, please, if I could just help one person to not make the same mistake I did, then my time in jail was not for naught. So thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Marisol.
Listening to Spencer tell my story is very interesting because, I spent, a total time incarcerated 15 years and on community supervision or parole. And it's funny because listening to my story, it reminds me of how far I've come, but also how far I still have to go. Because one of the things listening to Tracy and Lori tell their story, and Miss Naomi and BL Sherelle tell their story, it reminds me of the youth that people have lost in the system, the time that they have lost, and sometimes people aren't given that opportunity to still have an opportunity at a life once they've been released, because everybody says, as Tracy said, she told her story from the mountain. I made it a point to, when I left prison, that's what my work is, public policy, to change the policies. So people have an opportunity at a life, and there's someone there fighting the fight, and it's a face of incarceration. So no one forgets who's been left behind, and those that still want to have a chance and an opportunity to live and not carry that burden. And as Lori said, not let it eat you up inside. So it was very interesting to hear it from the standpoint of someone else, of how far you travel and how far you have to go sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you, Marisol. Naomi, would you like to talk about that?
Yes, I really enjoy hearing the students just tell my story, and really it just does my heart good because they're so tentative. They pay attention. And, just because they are as young as they are, I want them to tell somebody else about my story, because I'm hoping prayerfully that my story will help them and others to not take that same route that I took and lost so much, like Marisol was saying, of my life being on the inside. So to hear them, speak of my story, it just, lets me just hear, about me. And it's something when a person tells a story about you, you're like, wow, yep, that's me. Yep, that's me. Your story, and they tell your story. And it's just a good thing for me because, I just want my story to be told. And they're young, they're in their teens and early, I don't even know if they're in their early 20s, but I'm sure that they have a long way to go, praise God. And with that time that they have, when I may be dead and buried in my grave, I want them to let my story live on to just help somebody else. So I'm very appreciative. It makes me just feel good. It feels like I've done something good.
Thank you, Naomi. You're saying what the souls that Dante met and his journey all said to him. They said, please tell our story when you get back. They wanted their stories to be told. So thank you for that, BL.
Yes, hearing my story back, it makes me feel very hopeful, right? Like coming from where I've come from, I was always like kind of that doom statistic. Like I wasn't guaranteed anything but what I was getting. So for me to, survive like a police involved shooting, for me to, go to prison for so long, for me to, be in the system for so long that I was, it makes me feel hopeful when I listen to those stories and look at where I am now. Of course, I still have plenty of work to do, but I definitely have a lot to be grateful for. And when I hear my story back, I'm not, that's not missed on me. Whereas sometimes when I'm talking or sometimes when I'm living my life just normally with my experiences and with my trauma and everything that I've been through, I'm not always as hopeful as I should be. So that's how it makes me feel.
Okay, thank you, BL. Now I want to give the students a chance to respond from the other side of what it was, what the experience was like for them to hear these stories and then embody them in the course of the semester and in this evening's presentation. Margaret, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, I just feel so honored and grateful that I've been to be part of this class and to have had the chance to hear all of these stories, and so grateful to all of the women for being so generous with their time and with their stories. The experience of writing out their stories required me to listen over and over to the recordings of the class, which was really incredible because I would just start to have the women's voices in my head kind of throughout the week. And I, even down to like the rhythm of how they spoke. And I feel like I just feel I have an obligation now to, as they're saying, to keep telling their stories and to really try to advocate for change, because they've really helped me understand how cruel and inhumane the legal system really is. And I just feel like now that they've taken the time to share their stories, we have an obligation to keep sharing those stories and to advocate for change. And so I just want to say thank you to all of them. And I'm just so inspired by how strong and just incredibly brave they are to have gone through everything they've gone through and not to just leave it all behind them, but to turn around and then want to keep advocating for people and sharing their own experiences.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Spencer.
Yeah, thank you so much. Everything Margaret said, I would absolutely reiterate. I am so grateful to have been a part of this. I've really been interested in learning more about the justice system for a while, and this class has been an immensely meaningful opportunity to do that and do so in a very intimate and personal way. And so it's just been wonderful to hear stories and see how people are working for change in the world and doing so at a very personal level. So I've been inspired greatly by BL, by Naomi, by Tracy, Lori, Marisol, Crystal, everybody we've worked with for the duration of this course. And I see myself carrying this into the future, carrying these stories, but also carrying this inspiration into the future as I seek justice and seek direction in my future.
Okay, thank you, Spencer. Carrie.
Hi, thank you. Well, so I echo everything that that has been said already. I think maybe what I have to add is that I actually have spent a lot of time as a journalist listening to people's stories. And what was really unique about this experience to me was that I wasn't trying to tell them for a public necessarily. I was actually, the people who were sharing their stories with us accompanied us in this class so that we would write something, they would then critique our work and tell us how we had done. And I'm dazzled by the artistic accomplishments of every woman who we have heard from tonight. And I loved being in a situation where I wasn't trying to help them be an artist, which is sometimes a situation you're in when they bring artists into prison programs and these kinds of things. And I wasn't just telling their story for some outside world. I was being formed myself as an artist by them. And I think that Miss Naomi is a national treasure. I think BL is one of the smartest producers I've ever heard. And I think she's an incredibly talented artist in her own right. And it's just been the thrill of my life to get to work side by side with them for a very brief period.
Thank you, Carrie. Yes, I would echo that. It's we've been really honored to spend so much time with so many talented people, and it reminds me again of something else that Dante said. It's gran drol mi prese al cor quando lo intesi, però che gente di molto valore conobbi che in quel limbo erano sospesi. Great sadness took my heart when I realized that people of such great talent were suspended in that limbo. I think the audience tonight and the students have had a chance to hear that great talent, to hear the talent and the wisdom of these women who spent so much time in prison because of a system that's really broken, and a system that's rife with systemic racism. So, you know, I thank you all again for taking this time to be with us. And I'm going to open things up now to some of the audience for their questions and comments. And I want to start with one of the audience members who actually was with us in the class for a session, Carlos Roche, who is, you know, has extraordinary experience in prison. He was actually in Attica prison 50 years ago during the massacre when the police attacked the prison and shot and murdered many of the men in the prison, and they actually shot and murdered the prison employees as well. It's an extraordinary story. If you don't know about it, I urge you to go look at it. But today, so Carlos shared some of his experiences with the students in the past, but now I just wanted to ask Carlos and Christopher Sachs, who also works in prisons, to respond to the stories that they've heard tonight. So Carlos, how does what you heard tonight compare with your experience?
Wow, you know, it's made me reminisce. You know, it resurrected stories that I've heard. You know, I mean, I compared them to stories that I've heard. And it's a feeling, man, that doesn't compare to nothing. You know, nothing that compares to. And I enjoy stories, and this was part of the enjoyment.
And what would you say to the people in the audience that have never been in prison? What do you think is important for them to take away from listening to these stories?
Well, the most important thing I can tell them, man, is when you listen to them stories, you're listening to real, live, living experiences that these people have went through. Is telling the story. And it just makes you want to get in them. You know, you want to become part of the story.
Well, thank you, Carlos. And I know when we heard your story, we felt like we were listening to living history, because you're part of a really important part of history, the Attica massacre, that more people need to know about. And we were really honored to hear it from you directly, because that really is living history that needs to be, it's a story that needs to be told many more times than it has been told. So thank you for that. And Chris, do you have anything to add to that based on your experience in Rikers, which is, another story that needs to be told, which is an awful story about people, being, stuck in awful conditions even before they go to trial.
Yeah, that's right, Ron. And thank you so much for having us, and thank you all for being here. For those that don't know me, I run a program called the Right Now Project, and as Ron said, that's an arts program and a media program in not only Rikers, but actually all the city jails, which we're currently running remotely. And so even during this time when programs are being let out or kept out, thankfully we're able to create this human connection. And I heard so many stories, so many personal testimonials tonight. There's so many things that I could touch on, but that last part about the wasted talent that languish, and I think limbo is actually the perfect word for jail, particularly because as Ron alluded to, these are 90% people that haven't even been convicted of a crime. And certainly I don't even believe in that type of punitive, cruel punishment, even if you have been convicted of a crime. But we're talking about people who are largely pretrial detention. And so to be able to bring in an opportunity for people to express themselves that really, reinforces their humanity, that line about that person feeling like their confidence and their creativity sparked by being able to write poems for other people, and how that made them feel like a person again. That's really what we're about. So we're about creating that connection between the people on the outside and the people on the inside, so they know that people care about them, but also inside as well, amongst the human beings that are locked in these horrible conditions, to be able to create and to express and to transcend their physical predicament. We're doing it, and we're thankful to all the people who work with us inside, and we're grateful that we're able to provide that lifeline.
Okay, thank you, Christopher, and thank you again, Carlos. It's really great to have you with us in the class and have you here tonight with us as well. I'd like to ask Dawn Crimmins.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, you're welcome. Dawn Crimmins to respond. I don't know if she's with us on the panel or in the audience. Eben, can you give the microphone to Dawn Crimmins?
Yeah, can do.
Dawn is a social worker who's worked with many of the individuals that have been in this class in past years, and I asked her to watch and comment on what she's seen tonight in comparison to what she's experienced in her work. Dawn, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Okay,
fine.
awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, this is my third or fourth time observing this work with you, Professor Jenkins, and it's every time it's different people, but I'm always surprised and amazed. And you were speaking about the talent and the wisdom of these participants, and I'd like to just take a second and recognize you for your talent and your wisdom and all the work that you do to bring this project together and for such a long period of time. And as a person working in the field for over 2 decades, to be able to come across people who are in different worlds and can still see the same thing that I see in terms of finding the value in the story is just so refreshing, because people in the general public don't often get to see that and experience that. I'm always fighting the rhetoric about, well, they tell the same story. My mama this, my daddy that, I'm here because I was poor, and that's so not the case. And so for all the participants who are so brave to tell their story after coming out, when it's got to be so hard, when I'm sure all you want to do is forget about those days, but to have the courage to use that experience and use it for the betterment of other people, and not just to get notoriety for your story or to get pity for your story. It's so helpful for us in the field, because I work with the juvenile population mostly, and it's so hard to reach them and get them to understand sometimes, like what we're saying in terms of being just an accomplice to something, and how that can change your life for a really long time, as Naomi has shown. So I'll just stop speaking, but I will say that my last thing is that, it's about the stories. And so I thank you so much, Professor Jenkins, for allowing us to be able to understand the words from Dante and be able to make the connections so that we can help these participants to tell these stories. And for me, because I will tell my clients over and over that I won't excuse their behavior, but I'll certainly come to understand it. And most importantly, I will help them tell their story. So I thank you for helping me to become a better social worker every single time. And to the participants, keep working, because we need you out there, and your stories don't fall on deaf ears. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dawn. I was hoping that Nancy Fredericks and Deborah Martinez might be here, but are they here? Evan, do you know if we can hear from them, if they've made it? I guess not. But
Yeah, I don't see them in the.
Okay, so even if they're not here, I just want to acknowledge the contribution they made to the class. They are respectively the mother and the brother of men who are currently in prison and worked in this class before the pandemic, when we were actually allowed to go inside the prisons. And they have continued working with us over the years because of the importance that it has for their family members who are inside, and their perspective has been really important for the students to understand how the system works. So to Nancy Fredericks and Deborah Martinez, I give my heartfelt thanks. And I think that I don't see any questions from the audience. So I'm going to wrap things up. We've been here a long time. I want to thank you all and just leave you with one of the so many images from the semester that the guests have given us. And one that just stays burned in my memory is from Lori, who sang the song "I Got a Ticket," and told you how when she was in solitary confinement, she would lie on the ground in the dust and speak under the door of her solitary confinement cell so that she could sing and speak poetry and communicate art to the other women who were in solitary who couldn't see her. And that image of how important art and music and poetry was to women in those awful conditions, so important that they would get down in the ground in the dust and speak through the cracks under the door, that shows you how much these words mean. So that's one of the many images that I'm left with after this extraordinary semester, and I wanted to leave you all with that as something to think about. So
I know Tracy did it too. Tracy did it all the time.
Okay, so thank you all, participants, students, and everyone else who joined us tonight. We hope that you remember these stories. Thank you.
Hold on, before we go, nobody got.
Oh yes. Okay. Wait. Okay. BL has something to say. Go ahead.
It's 45 people in here. Nobody got no questions.
There's 5 questions in the Q&A right now.
There are more comments.
Already answered.
Yeah, there are comments.
Liz, okay, thanks so much for this program. Y'all want me to read Liz Bengals?
Yeah.
Liz Bengals says, thanks so much for this program and for your individual courage, spirit, and insights. You have survived ordeals that are truly characterized by despair, yet you prevail. To share hope and your personal integrity now becomes your gifts to us who were here together tonight, and to all those whose lives you touch with your music and poetry. Thank you so much, and may your lives and those you love be forever blessed. Thank you so much, Liz. That is very, very kind words. I really appreciate that. And Meredith Vargas, I hope I said that right. It has been such a profound and moving experience being with all of you. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. It is a privilege to receive them and help to carry your experiences forward. God bless you and best wishes for all of the amazing work you are doing. Thank you very much. Bobby Alexander says, you all spoke to me. Thank you. Thank you all. Like I said before, guys, sign up for my email list, dodgemcrow.com. Sign up to Once Incarcerated email list. You can contact Tracy at onceincarcerated@gmail, just to, stay updated on the things we do. We do some cool shit, If you guys want to be a part of it, sign up to our email list so we can stay in touch. I would greatly appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, BL. Do you have any final words of goodbye to the audience, BL?
Just thank you. I really appreciate you guys coming out. I'm just humbled. I'm always humbled when people come and want to hear what I got to say, honestly. So I just really appreciate it. And I love you all. Thank you.
Okay. And Naomi, do you have anything to say or sing as we leave?
I just want to thank everybody, for tuning in, and prayerfully that some of the things that you heard tonight will, have just touched your hearts, that however you may feel, I don't know how you feel, about those that are on the inside. A lot of times people feel that people on the inside deserve to be there. That's where they should be, but it's not the case all the time. And, I'm just hoping that, some of the things that you heard tonight, will just, broaden your horizon about what really goes on the inside. And, if it's proper for me to say, we all need to be careful of the stones that we throw. My grandmother used to tell me that, and I didn't understand it as a child when she would say, "Oh, you be careful of the stones that you throw." But as I became an adult and got in trouble myself, then I understood very well what she meant by be careful of the stones that you throw. Or if you live in a glass house, you don't throw stones. So those are just things to just think about. And God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. And when I tell you that I love you, I do love you. And have a blessed night.
And in case anyone doesn't know, I got a ticket and I'm going to SEG.
All right, Naomi, thank you for those words of wisdom to end with. And would you sing that Paradise song for us as the audience leaves?
I certainly will.
Thank you, because we want to make sure the audience is on the way to heaven after listening to your voice.
Yeah, this is especially for you.
Oh.
Sure would love to see a loved one that has gone long before me. Shake hands with the elder, the voices in the choir, in that holy righteous place. I'll see the Master's face, my Lord. I'll trade a lifetime for just one day in paradise. Sure would love to see my grandma. She told me she'd meet me there, where there won't be no more dark clouds. Every day bright and fair. I'll be praising thought I'll trade a lifetime for just one day in paradise.
Wow. Thank you, Miss Naomi, so much.
You're welcome so much.
Somebody actually asked me a pretty extensive question. I couldn't type it all out. I tried, but who are some of your musical and moral influences, and what dreams do you have about your music? What dreams do you have about what your music will do to the world? So yeah, my dream with what my music will do to the world is just simply humanize formerly and currently incarcerated people. Just like, oh, they're like really normal and really can be really smart and really talented, or really, we're just people. So that's what I hope my music does. As far as musical influences, that runs very, very, very deep. Everybody from Miss Naomi, I love all the super duper mega stars. Who doesn't? Like Prince, Michael Jackson, current Beehive member forever, Beyonce. And also I love R&B, so Jill Scott. I love Philly neo soul. Rap is, Beanie Siegel, kind of like the early 2000s age is where I kind of really got into hip hop. So like the Rockefeller era, DMX, Big Pun, Beanie Siegel, Jay-Z, very, very, a lot of people. But I really listen to pretty much just R&B and rock. I don't really listen to too much rap because I don't like it influencing what I create. So there's that.
Okay, thank you all again. We're going to sign off for now, but we're going to remember your songs and your stories.
Thank you, guys.
All right, good night. Love you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Night.